All right, today we're going to talk about changing directions quickly in sport. We're going to quickly talk about this topic, trying to get these videos down to even more bite size, just to get people through them even quicker. So here we go. I'm going to start out by playing some highlights from this is from the Champions League final that happened about a week ago, where Liverpool, let me pause it first and then we'll kind of go back and play. This is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. And what I want you to pay attention to is when we talk about changing direction in sports, I want you to pay attention to number 23 on the red team on Liverpool. This is Diaz, who is Luis Diaz, who's one of the top forwards in the game right now. I'm going to play this a couple times, but he's right here. So you watch how he's going to go take a shot and then immediately sprints off, calls for the ball, stops, runs to the other side of the field. We're going to look at this again. And I want to illustrate here how important it is to be able to change directions quickly. Diaz is one of the best at it, so I think this is a good example. But here he goes. I'm going to kind of play this through. He gets the pass here, runs here, goes to take a shot, doesn't get the shot, and he's right here again. Immediately goes to change directions here. Now he went from facing the goal to he's got his back to the goal. He did that very quickly, almost looked kind of effortlessly. Now he's going to kind of clap and call for the ball, not going to get it, and he's going to sprint off to the other side of the field. So here, see how he sprints there, doesn't get it. Now he's down at the bottom here waiting for the shot. Now they're going to end up sprinting all the way back down for a counter attack. So the ability to do that and change directions quickly is the difference of being successful in a sport or not, because you can react to things quicker. You can get open for passes. And this isn't just in soccer. I use soccer because I knew this example. I watched this game. Unfortunately, I'm a Liverpool fan. So I sat through this game on Saturday. I wanted to pull up an example from it, but I mean, we see the same thing in rugby. We see the same thing in basketball. We see the same thing in lacrosse, football, even. It really happens in almost every sport. And so if you can do this well in your sport, you're going to be successful. So there's three phases of this. One, there's a breaking phase where you're slowing down. The second part is that plant phase, that transition phase. When I have people that I'm rehabbing from, let's say ACL surgery, a lot of them are worried about that plant phase. What's going to happen when I have to slow down and plant very quickly on my leg? And a big part of rehab is trying to restore that ability, or even in an ideal world, get it better than it was even before the surgery, so that they can be quicker. After you plant on it, then you have that propulsive phase where you're trying to speed up and get back into the play, because that's the purpose of it, right? You're to change directions quickly and get to the spot on the field, the new spot on the field, or the new area, or the new direction that you're facing even faster than before. As you can see here, though, the first part of this number one, the precursor to this is decelerating. It's slowing down and decelerating. If you can't slow down well, if you can't decelerate well, you're not going to be able to change directions well. I would refer you back to the talk that I did on acceleration and deceleration, just to understand the differences between those two. If you have watched that video, and you may remember that decelerating, that stopping action, is very, very taxing on the body. It takes a lot more out of our muscles and joints and ligaments and all that to be hitting the brakes. You think about the brake pads in your car, they wear off. If you have to slam on the brakes very quickly, if you have to drive with a lead foot, the body is no different. We're going to just look at another kind of type of change of direction. This was a college soccer team running the yo-yo intermittent fitness test, or the yurt test, or the beep test, or however you want to call it. This is essentially a bunch of shuttle runs that the time in between gets smaller and smaller. So you have to be able to recover very quickly between these, and you have to be able to get to the cone very quickly in between. So just going to take a look here. As you can just pay attention, I'm going to stop this real quick before I play it again. Pay attention to what they have to do when they get to the cone and change direction, those three phases that I mentioned. So you've got the deceleration phase where they're slowing down, then they're planting on their leg, and then they're going to speed it up and accelerate in the other direction. So these are kind of the last two left on the team, because if you don't get to the cone in time, then you're eliminated. It's kind of last man standing drill. I'm going to play that one more time so you guys can see this. So they're running here. Here we go. They're slowing down. decelerate, plant, accelerate, explode to the other direction. So how do we do that? How do we change directions on the field faster? If you sorry to be a broken record here, but if you can decelerate better, you can change directions better. Now, how do we do that? A couple different ways. One, something called eccentric training. It's kind of a strange word, but our muscles work in two different ways. One, our muscles work to powerfully squeeze and contract to kind of propel us, the acceleration part of the movement. If you think about that, they also work to help us slow down. So if you think about, the best way I can describe it is, if you're going to sit down in a chair, your quadriceps, so the muscles on your thigh, and your glutes are working eccentrically to make sure that you don't just fall flat into the chair. Anytime you walk down the steps, your quadriceps muscles, your thigh muscles are working to make sure that you don't just fall and tumble down the stairs. That's why if you ever, I've mentioned this before, if you're on a day that your legs are really sore, or if you've had an injury or had surgery or something like that, walking down the stairs is always a lot harder, maybe more painful. It just feels a lot more difficult, maybe not as stable than walking up steps. When we are decelerating to change directions, the muscles that do the majority of that movement in that kind of eccentric fashion are our quads and our calf muscles. So training those in kind of an eccentric fashion where we work kind of deceleration is important. Again, that's something that I'm happy to help with. If you have any training needs or training questions, putting together plans for that or training for that is something that I do for athletes quite often. The other piece of it is training your reaction time. The quicker you can react to another play on the field, the quicker you're going to be able to start the whole change of direction process. So reaction training is very important as well. All right, that's all for today. We'll see you all next week. Feel free to subscribe if you want updates when these are being released, which is about once a week here, or follow me on social media for more updates that way. Thanks.